could join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I know, it takes me a little bit.
Item 2 is consideration of agenda additions or deletions. We have none. Now, invitations to members of the audience to speak to items on the agenda. Seeing none, we'll move on to communications. We have none. Right into reports. Dr. Blaze.
All right, well, first off, I have my friend Cameron here from Schneider Electric, and he is going to talk to us about solar power and where we have options here at Lakeland. We'll let Cam take it away because I don't know anything.
That's not true.
Not my
I can stand over here, I guess.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen on the board, Dr. Blaze, administration, everybody who's here. Really appreciate you letting me come and speak today. I know it's a busy day and a busy board meeting, so really appreciate it. Like Dr. Blaze said, really want to talk about capital recovery and reinvestment program that we have at Schneider Electric that Dr. Blaze, the administration, and I have been talking about over the past couple of months. And so what Schneider Electric is we are an energy service company. A lot of times we look to see where school districts can save money and then reinvest those savings into other capital needs that they have. And so a little bit how our program works, if you look to the left, you'll see a before and after. That's a before project and after project. That green slide is where the guaranteed savings come in, and they're usually used to pay for the project as well as some other capital needs. And then there's usually hopefully some leftover money that is just at discretion to the district after a project. This is all through IC 36-1-12.5. That's the actual legislation that we work under. And so what this means is legally we're obliged to guarantee savings towards you. If we say you're going to save $400,000 a year and you only end up saving $380,000 a year, we are on the hook for that $20,000. And so no matter what, throughout the life cycle of a project, we're also on the hook to pay you out if those savings don't happen. And so, like Dr. Blaze said, the main energy conservation measure we've looked at over the past couple of months is solar power. If you look to the right, you will see that these solar panels, obviously, are up there. And so Lakeland Junior Senior High School, my solar team, developed the new roof as well as the metal roof south-facing to hold those solar panels. And then we developed a solar array towards those 7 acres past Lakeland Intermediate School. And these two arrays would tie in together. And then at Lakeland Primary School, had 2 smaller arrays towards the south-facing metal roofs. And you'll notice that on the solar costs and savings, there's ranges just because we like to be pretty conservative at this point in time. The next step is to move into a business case, which I'll talk about a little later on. But throughout this next step, we'll narrow down those numbers of costs and savings. And so right now, we're looking at an annual projected electric savings of somewhere between $425,000 $460,000 and as a whole, Lakeland spends somewhere around $540,000 $550,000 a year on utilities, and so this gets you pretty darn close to a net zero district. And I know Andy and James, he also asked me if we could get to that point, and I think we can definitely explore becoming net zero throughout the business case. Total 30-year savings, which is normally what we look at for a solar project, looks to be between $20 and $21.8 million, which is a fair amount of money to save. And so the estimated project pricing right there is $5.7 to $6.1 million. The most attractive thing, and it's on the sheet that I gave y'all with the solar investment tax credit, the most attractive thing for public entities right now is that you get anywhere between a 25 and 30% tax rebate, essentially, the year after the solar array is put into service. And so right now, just estimated 25.5% tax credit, which would give you back $1.45 to $1.55 million. Talk a little bit more about the funding and financing. We would get and have a separate meeting throughout the business case about this, but there's a bunch of different ways we can fund and finance it, as well as help with grants, rebates, and other tax incentives. Moving to the back of the page, which should be the next page on the slideshow. just talking a little bit more about the scope explorations we would explore throughout a business case in the future. If you, obviously we want to assess the solar in depth at different locations, narrow down those numbers, exactly narrow down where you would want the solar and everything. And then on top of that, we would want to utilize the potential savings for switching over all of the prior DX units at the junior, senior high school, which you guys have already started doing. It would really just be almost a formality to just move everything to that closed loop system that that's so chiller's sized for. Dr. Blaze and I also talked about assessing other school improvements like sports lighting, water conservation, a possible update to the track and tennis courts, and then just some other improvements that we can help with as well. If you look to the bottom left, you'll see these cool little outdoor classrooms with solar on top of them. Those are things we like to do. They're called sustainable outdoor learning environments. I think this would be something fun to explore. Dr. Blaze mentioned that there's no shade on the primary school's playground, and so maybe adding something along the lines, it doesn't have to necessarily be a classroom, but something where those kids have shade at recess and before and after school would just be a fun thing for them. And then we also work with an organization called NEED, which helps with curriculum for K-12 schools and really helps educate your kids on why is there solar panels on the roof now? What is the district doing to be more environmentally friendly for the future, and how is the district saving money and saving energy? And then I also know that the district has some disaster centers throughout the county, and so we also come up with batteries and backup generators just to make sure that the schools never lose power in the event of an emergency. So looking ahead, you'll see the second sheet I gave y'all, which is all white. That's the essentially letter of interest to move into a business case. This would be no cost of Lakeland, and essentially what it is just an agreement that we would get access to your personnel, your utilities, as well as your schools to just go ahead and do some walkthroughs with our engineers and get people on the ground to look at some of these scope explorations more in depth. Then after that, we would have a business case presentation about everything we found at the district, and then move into an investment grade audit stage where we would completely narrow down the scope, the costs, and the savings. So once again, really appreciate you all listening to me ramble for about 5-10 minutes. If anybody has any questions or comments, please feel free to let me know.
So I guess the only thing I noticed is obviously there's nothing on the intermediate school roof. Is that because of the setting of it? Like it's out in the field?
So,
or?
Quite frankly, that roof is like what, about halfway through its life cycle,
Yeah.
right, Andy?
Yeah, we talked about that, and it's too far in its life cycle to put a new solar on, so a new roof would have to be put on first,
Okay.
and then solar array afterwards. So that's why we want to utilize that property.
Okay.
And that property is big enough to hold an array that can then be right sized for the entire district. Sometimes it just gets a little bit more capital intensive when you want to replace a roof, especially if it's not exactly near the end of its life cycle, which is why you see the sections of the new roof you guys just put on for the junior, senior high. Those are the only ones that are attached there as well.
What is the, I guess, agreement for an array to sit on a piece of property like that for its life cycle? If it had to be moved or anything of that nature, it's just.
Yeah, that's why we look at doing them on primarily only new roofs, because you have an 8-year-old roof and then you have to replace it in 10 years. You're going to have to take the panels off, replace the roof, etc. And so there would be some costs built in. Not only do you have to switch out the inverters on any solar array after every 15 years, but if you have a roof mount, it would be factored into the maintenance and operations costs towards the end of the life cycle of the roof too.
I was more talking about the ones on the ground.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry. Can you?
I guess if you decided that's not how you wanted to utilize that piece of property, what cost would the corporation incur?
So you're saying if you put solar panels on them and then decided we don't want these on there anymore? I mean, it depends. If you were to want to transfer them to a roof, like you said, you could reuse the panels, partly reuse some of the inverters. Probably not most of the infrastructure that went into the ground, but that would be just a school corporation decision on if you wanted to do that in the future.
Are these projections based on the cost of domestic materials after 2025? Or is this based on the project started before 2025?
This is based off of a project that would go into service in 2025.
Okay.
And so,
So in this service, does that mean like functioning or like, okay?
yeah, and so that would put it into service the tax year of 2025, and you would get the Inflation Reduction Act tax credit in 2026 after tax season.
About how long does it take to do projects like
That was
this?
my next question.
Cause I don't know.
It varies, and so a business case can last anywhere from 2 to 3 or 4 or 5 months, depending on how large the scope is. And then procurement can be as quick as a month or 2 months, and then the investment grade audit can be anywhere from 2 months once again to a year, depending on the scope. And so with a scope like this, it wouldn't be too time intensive for my project development, for my engineers to come out on site and develop this project fully. And so another part is moving as fast or slow as you guys want to move. There's really no timeline that we're going to hold you to. It's your project, and I want to make sure that everybody's comfortable moving forward.
Where's the closest project that you guys have done this size?
So at a school district, it would be Franklin Township down in Indianapolis. At a city, we recently worked with the city of LaPorte, so a little bit just west of here.
Okay, I think that, I don't know, I think that we'd like to, the board would probably like to talk things over again before we sign the business case. But I really appreciate you coming tonight.
Yeah, no.
Is there anything else, board?
I think Dr. Blake just has to sign, like,
Yeah.
you were, like, it doesn't have to be all of us.
It's
so it
not
could just
something
be
that you have to
or-
vote on or anything.
Yeah.
I can sign to start the business case.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I mean, that's up, are you guys okay with that?
I'm okay, I mean, it's free of cost and it just
Right.
continues the investigation at a more detailed level, right?
I have probably a silly question here. The intermediate school, the roof is 2 years out to be replaced. Andy?
I wouldn't say that, probably closer to 5 maybe.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, would it behoove us to wait on the intermediate school until that new roof is on to put the panels on the roof versus the ground?
Yeah, and that would just depend on what you guys, what you all want to do. I think if you were to wait for the roof replacement, you could definitely do that. I'm not sure if that size array could be put on the roof of the intermediate school, and so the brunt of this annual savings does come from that 7 years of land.
Do all of these panels have to live on the roof, or are there ways to, for the same cost or similar cost, do these creative outdoor spaces for the students?
Yeah, those small outdoor spaces are not too capital intensive. You can do a few and not really impact the budget. If you wanted to look at carports per se and those parking lots that you have across the high school, that's something else we could do. It would just be a little bit more capital intensive and more expensive up front just because of all the construction of the ceiling and all those structures.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely couldn't build on some parts of that. Parking lot, baseballs.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you all.
You can write your shoes. Oh, you and I will talk.
Very good.
All right, so the next part of my report is our Lakeland by the numbers, and today was our first day of school, and we are up by 12 students from where we ended the year last year. So pretty excited to have a positive number on there instead of the negative that I normally report. So we are currently at 1,515 students this year.
Excellent.
Pretty excited about that.
What grades were they, bro?
I didn't do a lot of comparison on that.
Curious.
Kindergarten is up from last year, and 11th grade stayed the same. 10th grade, I think, is up by 1. So, yeah, I don't remember there wasn't like a grade that really stood out. Kindergarten was the biggest increase, I think.
I did see some new faces around.
Mhm.
Good to hear where some of those came from.
I think we deemed that bubble class in fourth grade also,
That's good.
as we were getting ready for that, I think that number's up.
Good.
What's 13th grade?
13 is our holdover seniors.
Didn't
So,
quite make it last year.
yeah, they didn't quite get there. They have until October, if they were a
No,
senior
that's
last year, I
Good
think.
question.
They
Yeah.
have till October to gain their diploma and stay with their cohort.
Oh, I didn't.
Last year, I think we had 13.
We didn't have a lot.
It was a lot.
Okay.
Does this include the cyber?
Yes.
Which is,
Yes, cyber is at, I think he's opening at 51 students, 11 of them are out of district students, so that's good for us. When you consider that the very first year we opened our cyber academy, we opened with 17 students. So year 4, 51, I think that's a pretty good number. We were notified that our Title III grant is coming. This is used to supplement our English language learner population. And that is one of our smaller grants, $22,256. And I have one thing that is not, I forgot to type out for the agenda. And we were notified that Stacy Priestley has concluded her literacy instruction rooted in the science of reading. She did that through let's see, I'll just read the whole thing. Thank you for being a key partner in our urgent work to ensure every student receives evidence-based literacy instruction rooted in the science of reading. As you know, a key component of this work includes ensuring Indiana's teachers receive training in the science of reading and are provided the tools they need to teach students to read using proven effective strategies. This was the motivation behind the development of the science of reading modules in partnership with Marian University, so that any educator may access ready-to-go science of reading learning modules at any time that's best for them. These modules available via the Indiana Learning Lab are voluntary, and they are open to all teachers who sign up. Eligible teachers may also earn a stipend for completion. We are pleased to share that an educator in your district has now completed the modules and will receive this one-time stipend. The completion of these modules is no easy feat and requires a great level of discipline, time management, and a genuine passion for learning, all qualities that make a great teacher even greater. The time and dedication to furthering their knowledge and expertise in the science of reading is commendable and will ultimately help more students master the literacy skills they need in order to access all future learning. This achievement is worthy of celebration, and we encourage you to share your educators' accomplishments as inspiration to fellow colleagues and a shining example for your students of the importance of being a lifelong learner. In this packet, you'll find a stipend check, and I gave that to her, for a completion certificate and stickers for the individual below. Checks are ready to be delivered. We don't really care about that part, but our teacher that earned this is Stacy Priestley, and she earned a $1,200 stipend check, a certificate, and stickers. So, and this letter came from Dr. Jenner, Indiana Secretary of Education. So I make sure to share that with you too.
Thank you.
That's the end of my report. So we're ready for Jameson. Sorry, I got ahead of
That's
myself.
okay.
That's
So
just us.
excited, so excited.
So excited. Triggered.
All right, so today we've collected $7,595,286.74 in our education fund, which is 55.55% of our expected collections. And in our operations fund, we collected $4,551,775.97, and so we're at 66.5% of collections for that. Expenditure wise, we have spent $8,187,874.02 in our ed fund. That is 54.73% of our approved budget and 59.9% of our revenue budget. In our operations fund, we've spent $4,624,081.22. So 53.4% of our operations fund and 67.5% of the revenue budget. So those numbers came from the revised one without that 400,000 temporary transfer that keeps throwing me off now. But anyway, so that's where we're at. I think we're in pretty decent shape. really high end operations, but we've had a lot of projects, a lot of projects in that line. So, but I still think we're in pretty good shape. So.
Do you see any areas of potential to trim down or take that or?
As we just work through like the room projects and things like that, just trying to
We still got bills trickling in from that.
from that. So it's just
Like
some of that,
necessities?
that we trying to wrap up some of those rooms and kind of left over from the bond has kind of rolled in. That's where I think a large majority of it's gone, and and so we just hopefully we won't have some of those bigger projects next year going forward.
Okay, is there any other questions? All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Appreciate the revised
Yes.
one as well.
It makes me feel a little better when I take that out. Gives me a heart attack with it in.
School board president's report, just wanna welcome everybody back with the students. It's always nice to have students back, it's nice to get going again. Anticipate another wonderful year, so, here we go, right? Alright. We're off and running. We have no unfinished business, but we do have some new business. Item 1.
First item is CPR classes. We have had an arrangement over the last few years where our Director of Health Services has been CPR certified to teach classes so that our staff can have easy availability as far as CPR classes go. So Ashla has not been trained in that yet, and we want to make sure that we get her trained, but we want to continue with this agreement too so that she can earn the stipend for that. And she has scheduled her class, I think, for August 30th.
Entertained a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, is there any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Item 2.
Item 2 is our memorandum of understanding with the LaGrange Veterinary Clinic, very similar to our dental clinic agreement. We will pay for the time that their veterinary workers are working with our students in our veterinary career program, and we agree to provide space for that as needed, and they will do the same so that our kids can go into their surgeries and all that good stuff. Great program.
Entertain a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Item 3.
Item 3 is a department head end of assignment. As we made some changes and hired a lead teacher in CTE, we needed to have a paper trail that ended the assignment of department head for CTE for one of our other employees. So that is what that is.
Entertain a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Policy, number 5.
Okay, number 5. Well, we skipped 4. Teacher appreciation.
I am so sorry.
Number 4. All right, so
We
every.
don't wanna skip that one.
Yeah, no, we do not. They will not feel appreciated. So, a teacher appreciation grant policy is one of those odd little legislative things that they say that we have to approve that policy every year. I am making no changes to that policy. It, I don't think has been changed since it came out, but we have to show that we approve it in the board meeting every year by September.
Entertain a motion.
So, second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. Now on to item 5.
All right, policy 6250. This is another one of those weird legislative things. There is a list of probably 10 to 15 items that the state will accept as proof of residency. However, the law states that every school board must narrow that down to 3 items. We had mortgage statements, rental lease agreements, and a current medical bill. And we are having families that are coming to us and saying, I have none of those 3 things. we can't go back to the list and take one of the other approved things without bringing it to you to change our policy. So after consulting with our registrars, they decided a utility bill would be much more convenient. So we are keeping the mortgage statement, the rental lease agreement, and a current utility bill for our 3 items that parents can submit to prove residency.
Entertain a motion to approve 6250.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I have one quick question. If they don't have a rental or lease agreement or a mortgage, how would they have a utility bill?
Well, what we're having are people that come into us and they say that they own their house outright, so they don't have a mortgage and they don't have a rental, and then they're healthy and they don't have a medical bill. So we thought if they own their house outright, they would at least have a utility bill. So that's why we're adding utility bill and taking off the medical bill.
Okay, so they're not going to be helping. Housing situation.
Right.
Okay, I see.
We have families in that kind of boat, but that's a
Yeah.
different.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
The registrars, thank you.
Okay, item 6.
Item 6 is business donations and sponsorships, and I think Ryan's here to talk about that.
Yeah, there's 3, I think, that were on the list for you to approve tonight. 3 business sponsorships. They're all with businesses that we had sponsorships with last year, but there are a couple things I wanted to let you know about. One of those is Miller's. That'd be Miller's Supermarket and also Miller's Sign Company. They've been a sponsor on our auxiliary gym for a couple of years. We just made a new agreement with them to move them over to the football field. They're increasing their sponsorship a little bit, and we're gonna name that Miller's Field going forward. So we're doing some work on the concessions building, the entranceway, the archway, the fence. The goal is to have all of that done by homecoming, so we can have a ribbon cutting and free night for Miller's employees to get in and kind of make a fun event out of it. So their sponsorship is one of those for you to accept. And then we also have a Farmer State Bank sponsorship. They have also been a sponsor for 3 years, and their agreement was originally through 2027, I think. We extended that through 2030. So we're going to continue that a little bit longer. And they also want to do an agreement that would sponsor our fine arts program. So at the next board meeting, I should have something for you on that as well to accept. They're interested in giving some money to that too. And that would also be through 2030, same amount as that. And then the last one is from Linders. This will be their 2nd year as the sponsor of our junior high soccer field. So they're continuing on in the same facility, same amount of donation. So I'm really grateful for all of them again. And I've met with these companies over the summer, and then also, of course, Katie Levitz has been a part of this in her new role as well, which has been really nice to have another person devoted to this sponsorship program too. So there'll be more to come, I think, in the future.
Brian, who takes on the added responsibility of sending the thank you to them?
Katie is working with them. So all of these that have given the sponsorship, she's contacting them to talk about their press release, if we're going to do like a ribbon cutting, special thing in the newspaper, social media, an employee night, and then the thank you would be part of that too.
The old-fashioned written.
Yeah,
Thank
what we
you.
talked about doing is getting like getting a team picture, like once we get our team photos back, and at least having maybe the seniors, if not the whole team, like signing the picture or signing a card, giving that with it, so they get a thank you from the kids as well.
The old-fashioned thank yous still have a place in
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Good.
Anything further? Entertain a motion to approve the donations and sponsorships.
Moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, Ryan.
Great.
Move on to the next one too.
Okay.
Yeah, can't sit down just yet. Do you have any slides for the building trades thing? I printed something off here that, that's fine, that's fine. You do?
We had them attached to
You
their.
can also pass this around if you'd like. So building trades had a project that they were gonna do this next year, and a couple months ago that kind of fell through. So they don't have one large project for the year, so I believe they're gonna do some things with Habitat for Humanity, and then they're also gonna do some things here on the school grounds. And one of the projects they're gonna do is build some new storage sheds for our baseball field and our softball field, which are, you've seen those sheds, they're pretty badly needed. The doors don't close anymore, the roofs leak, and half the equipment's sitting outside because it won't fit in anyway. So what Sue has there, that's a picture of what the shed's gonna look like. It's through Alpha, so it's the same color as all of the other buildings that we've been redoing around the grounds. And it'll be a 12 by 20 foot shed with a concrete pad and an overhead door, so we can fit all the equipment in. We can put pallets in there. Don't have to unload all the bags of chalk and all that stuff. And the total, the cost that Alpha estimated for the materials is about $3,500 for one building. So it's about $7,000 for the materials, and then the concrete pad is about $1,000 total for both. So we're somewhere in the range of $8,000 to $9,000, which is pretty great for two buildings like that.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about that. Definitely a great thing for athletics, and it's needed. So.
Do we know when they'll build those?
We got all the quotes and the drawings now, so Mike Troyer is starting in on the permitting process. So he's talking to the county about that.
This is different than the DNL metal quote originally that we had.
It is. Yeah, I sent that one. Actually, we just got like in the last few days from Alpha, because he had checked with DNL first, but we need to go through Alpha if we can, if the pricing is good, because they have the colors exactly. They have the right metal. Plus, they give us a 15% discount of everything we purchase through their charge account, through our charge account there. So the price is pretty good usually.
Yeah, it looks like it was a little better than Melrose.
Yeah.
Has the location been chosen?
It's gonna go in the same places that those sheds are now. So like at baseball, it's between the JV field and the varsity field. There's just a little brown storage barn back there. And then softball, same thing. It's between those two, kind of close to the north end of our property there.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
And if anybody wants the sheds, they can have it for free.
Don't stand here.
If you come take it away, you can.
You like leaky old jets.
Yeah.
We got a deal for you.
Stand up. I don't know if they'd stay together if you tried to.
Probably not. They're pretty grounded in the dirt. I think they fall apart if you pick them up.
Just light a match.
Yeah. Okay, so did we know?
So Kara Young has that information. Mike Troyer has it. Kara has it. Jameson has it, because it's going to be paid for out of I don't know exactly where, but since it's a classroom related project, she has funds to cover the project. So now that we got the drawing approved, I'm pretty much going to be out of it. 'Cause I'm like the homeowner now. Yeah, no, I'm pretty much supposed to act like the homeowner. That's what Kara told me, Kara Young. And Mike's going to take over it from here.
So they're gonna actually, I guess, these sheds we have now are movable. You don't need a permit for those, but these are gonna have a pad and they're gonna put.
Yeah.
Yeah, I spoke with Mike a little bit about it. It's going to be like a little mini post frame building.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be. So.
I mean, if they wanna like razzle dazzle them up for classroom with lights and electric and.
Yeah.
You want to what?
I said if they wanna razzle dazzle them up with electric and lights, classroom purposes.
Just slip
Outdoor
them in.
classrooms.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
All right, so let's, I entertain a motion to approve this project quote.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second, any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Alright, we're on the gaggle.
We're on to Gaggle, and I believe Sam's gonna talk about Gaggle, is what Alexis told me.
She did, didn't she? So this is a continuation of some of the additional services that Gaggle offers, specifically therapy services. So it's telehealth. And the way it works is it ties in with the existing crisis hotline as well as student wellness, which is the content filtering and whatnot that we already deploy. And then it also gives our counselors another option for students to talk to people. So
You may remember that Gaggle is kind of a filtering service that we use in a way, and they notify us if they see language that's concerning that our students are using in any of their documents, as long as they are logged in to their Google account.
yep, their Lakeland account. Yep.
Yep. Entertain a motion to approve? You got a motion and a second from Jessica. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Item 8. 9.
Item 9 is an employee termination, not something that we like to bring to you on a regular basis, but I will let Melanie say whatever Melanie needs to say on it.
We had a employee who violated one of our policies to the nth degree, the best way I can say it.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. 10.
Alright, 10 is happier because that's employment, so we like to see that. We have several Lakers on the list that are coming back to us. I do have at least one person here. Chris Crable is here. She's a retired principal out of Michigan, and we are super excited to have her on board as our educational diagnostician. I gave you lots of notes to look at, so there are a lot of.
Brock is here.
Oh yeah, Brock's here too, sorry. Brock, Trish, I guess I thought we already hired you, so. I forgot you were on there. Brock, you're here, welcome to say something to Big Live. Did you have speeches prepared or anything? No, Brock,
Brock got a real taste of it today. He's still here. He got a
Yeah.
real taste of supervising junior high lunch.
Ooh.
Stuck around the whole day.
Great acoustics.
Great acoustics.
Great.
So you like our lunchroom then?
Yeah.
And the acoustics in there.
Great.
Is that what's on the sleeve of your jacket?
All right.
I wanted to just mention some coaches. If that's okay.
Sure. Absolutely.
I have one in the transfer section and then one in the employment. One transfer that is not here this evening, Orvin Schleybaugh, with Aaron Fair resigning from golf. Orvin is going to be moving up from junior high to high school, and last year was his first year, but he did an excellent job. Really good with the kids. Definitely knows golf, and so I really enjoyed working with him. I think he'll do a great job. And then the other one I want to point out is a new employee. Sitting next to me, this is Ryan Miller. He's our boys varsity tennis coach. And he was, thank you for coming tonight. It's kind of nice when you actually get to see the new coach, because otherwise when are you going to see the tennis coach, you know? Not very often. So Ryan was a former player of mine when I coached tennis at Westview. So at the very least, he knows what not to do. But it's fun to have him back and get to work with him again. So yeah, just want
It's
to say
nice to see you in blue.
Yeah.
I'd say also tennis, it is a good thing because like you don't know where the tennis coach is half the time in a tennis match. Like because they're just wandering the fence.
I know, true.
Not on the bench ever.
We need to get him a hat, like a red hat or something to wear. It's the coach's hat for tennis. It's not a bad idea.
I'd like to mention the kindergarten kickoff team. I just want to thank the staff that's willing to put that on for our incoming kindergartners. It puts, again, just to remind, it puts the kindergartners at ease that they come in 2.5 hours, 2 days before the start of school. And this is our second year doing it, and there was hardly any tears today. Because they already knew where they were going, they knew their teacher, and yeah. So I just wanted to publicly thank the staff that continues to be willing to do that.
I did hear of one kindergartner who came into his classroom, threw open the door, and said, "I'm back." So I think he felt pretty comfortable.
He's back from preschool or what?
He was at kindergarten kickoff, so he remembered it.
Because after they go to kindergarten kickoff, then their parents or grown-ups have the next however many days of saying, "No, you're not going yet. You're not going yet. You're not going yet." So
Gotcha.
they're pretty excited.
That's
He's
awesome.
pretty comfortable in his classroom.
And I'm sure the teacher was like, "Yes, you're back." I will say I got a conversation about a neighboring school that was like, "Why are you guys doing so many cool things like that? Like, that's such a great idea." And I think this is our second year, right? And I was like, "Yeah, it's very cool for that age group to have that opportunity." So we appreciate it.
I can add. So as a parent of a new kindergartner, Lincoln was she loved it, absolutely loved it. And today, first day back, or first day here, no issues at all. So super thrilled.
Awesome. All right, let's move to approve item 10.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Welcome aboard.
Thank you, now we're going to dinner.
She's buying.
Item 11.
One volunteer for football junior senior high, right? Do you want to say anything about that?
Not in particular. No, I'm a really good guy. I've met him a couple times here. Got to meet him as he filled out all his paperwork, and I asked the junior high coach the other day how he was doing, and he said he's fitting in great. So, yeah.
Entertained a motion to approve.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. We got 12 here are the transfers.
Well, before school year starts, we usually have a lot of dominoes falling in place, so we do have some transfers on here for you.
Entertain a motion to approve the transfers, A through K.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. 13 is resignations.
Always sad to see people go, but once a Laker, always a Laker. But these people have resigned for the school year for a variety of different reasons. Some opening daycares, some doing student teaching, some going to work for family businesses, all different.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. 14 is the consent agenda. Items A through C. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Item 14. Now we're moving on to public comments. Persons wishing to make the board aware of suggestions, ideas, and/or comments may address the board at this time. Comments which involve personnel or students must be discussed in private. Board member comments.
I actually have a question, and I don't know if Brian, if you can answer or not. How are our middle school sport numbers looking? I'm hearing different rumors from parents, like we don't have enough for 7th and 8th grade football team, like separate, possibly volleyball.
They talked about combining 7th and 8th football, but the numbers are actually a little higher than what they expected.
Okay.
We had a few transfers, and so we'll see exactly how it shakes out now that we're in school, because they usually pick up a few. So we'll kind of make those decisions by like Friday or so, you know, see where we're at. Let all those junior high kids get their physicals, and
I get it.
It can take some time. But no, football's a little better than what we thought. Junior high volleyball's low this year. Junior high girls soccer is pretty low, but it typically is. You know, we're usually looking at 11 to 14 for them. Junior high boys soccer, I think, is going to be a little lower than last year. It was 33 last year. It's
Yeah,
nuts.
2 teams last
We're
year.
more like low 20s right now. So they're not bad. And they've actually, they're maybe a little better than what some of the coaches would expect.
And just had different people ask me, like, what are we doing? I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not even school hasn't started, so they're not officially like in season.
The high school numbers have been really good.
Yeah.
I mean, football's 51, something like that, not counting their managers. Tennis has 8, which is more than what I was expecting. So we got a full team there. Cross country's got their biggest numbers for boys and girls that they've had since I've been here.
Yeah.
There's like 15 or 16 between the 2 teams.
Wow. We had
So
like 3 or 4 girls last year.
yeah. So the high school number is pretty good, and we did, you know, Tracy mentioned the enrollments, and we've had some transfers.
Yeah.
Quite a few transfers this summer, which has been fun to see, and quite a few like freshmen, too, where I haven't had to do an athletic transfer, but you know they've come in as freshmen.
Yeah.
So hey, we love to see that.
Good to hear.
Wrestling is huge. Our wrestling team is going to be huge this year.
Yeah.
I mean, like maybe over 20 boys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Any other board member comments?
I had a question about the voting shades. Is that project going to be the only one they're working on this year, or what do you think?
No, they're starting with these sheds, and then we're in talks with Habitat for Humanity, but they needed to get their auction fundraiser taken care of before we could talk about what it is they want us to do, so those are happening soon.
I know we don't have any guidance counselors here, but do we know how many students enrolled this year in building grades?
I don't off the top of my head.
Look that real quick before you need to.
That's fine.
I know both classes are pretty full.
Are they? Okay. Alright, anything else from the board? Calendar review, this is the month we have 2 meetings. I was thinking, I was trying to think which meeting, or which month I'm in.
Do we in October also?
Yes, October is
Another one that we do.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So we'll be back here August 28th at 6:30. Entertain a motion to adjourn. Yeah, motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. Thank you for coming.